Imperfection is one of the most human traits we possess. Yet, in a world dominated by filters, curated social media feeds, and a culture that glorifies perfection, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking our flaws are weaknesses. But what if imperfection wasn't something to hide but something to celebrate? What if those perceived flaws were actually what made us relatable, resilient, and ultimately, human? Our imperfections tell a story. They reveal where we've been, how we've grown, and where we're headed. Whether it's the wrinkles on a loved one's face that capture years of laughter and wisdom or the personal challenges we've overcome that have made us stronger, imperfection is woven into every part of our existence. When we focus on perfection, we detach ourselves from authenticity. Striving for flawlessness often leads to exhaustion, disconnection, and fear of failure. But when we embrace imperfection, we allow ourselves to live more freely and genuinely. We stop worrying about the perfect version of ourselves and instead find joy in who we are right now. This video is an invitation to shift your perspective, to stop seeing flaws as failures and start seeing them as opportunities. Together, we'll explore how imperfections shape our relationships, fuel creativity, and drive personal growth. This isn't about settling or ignoring areas of improvement but about giving yourself the grace to live unapologetically as you are. Perfection may seem desirable, but it's unattainable and, frankly, dull. Imperfection, on the other hand, is vibrant and alive. It's the vulnerability in sharing your story, the beauty in your quirks, and the courage to let your authentic self shine. Let's redefine what it means to be human by celebrating the beauty of imperfection. There's a reason people are drawn to authenticity. It's real. Imperfection, rather than being a flaw, is often what makes something relatable, memorable, and beautiful. Think about the moments that have touched your heart: a loved one's heartfelt apology, a child's lopsided drawing, or the way a friend admits they're struggling. These moments resonate not because they're perfect but because they're human. The appeal of imperfection is deeply rooted in how we connect with others. When someone shows their vulnerability or quirks, it creates a sense of trust and relatability. By contrast, perfection can feel unapproachable or even intimidating. People don't fall in love with perfection, they fall in love with authenticity. Cultural philosophies have long celebrated imperfection. The Japanese concept of wabi-sabi, for example, sees beauty in the incomplete and imperfect. Similarly, kintsugi, the art of repairing broken pottery with gold, transforms cracks into something valuable and beautiful. These practices remind us that flaws don't detract from value, they enhance it. They tell a story, adding depth and uniqueness that perfection simply cannot achieve. In our relationships, imperfection is often what makes people endearing. A partner's silly habits, a friend's eccentricities, or a family member's loud laugh, these quirks are what make them uniquely themselves. By embracing imperfections in ourselves and others, we open the door to deeper connection and understanding. Vulnerability fosters intimacy, while the pursuit of perfection often builds walls. The same principle applies to how we see ourselves. When we stop chasing perfection, we create space for self-acceptance and growth. We allow ourselves to fail, to learn, and to thrive. Life isn't about being flawless, it's about being real. And in being real, we find the freedom to live more fully, connect more deeply, and love more wholeheartedly. Imperfection is often misunderstood as a sign of failure, but in reality, it's the foundation for growth. Life isn't a straight line of success, it's a journey marked by stumbles, mistakes, and the lessons we learn along the way. These experiences don't define our shortcomings, they define our resilience. Growth doesn't happen when things are easy or perfect. It happens when we stretch ourselves, face challenges, and evolve. Think about the first time you tried something new, whether it was learning an instrument, starting a job, or taking up a hobby. The process was likely messy. You made mistakes, felt frustrated, and doubted yourself. But those moments of imperfection were necessary for progress. Each failure brought you closer to mastering the skill. Growth is impossible without struggle, and struggle is inherently imperfect. Many of the world's most successful people attribute their achievements to their willingness to embrace failure. Oprah Winfrey was famously fired from her first TV anchor job, yet that experience motivated her to build a media empire. J.K. Rowling faced countless rejections before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. These stories remind us that failure isn't the end, it's often the beginning of something extraordinary. When we shift our perspective and see imperfection as a teacher, we open ourselves to incredible opportunities for self-improvement. Every setback is a chance to learn more about ourselves, our strengths, weaknesses, and untapped potential. It's through these imperfect experiences that we discover who we truly are. Moreover, imperfection fosters creativity and innovation. Mistakes challenge us to think outside the box, to try new approaches, and to find solutions we may not have considered otherwise. Growth is messy by nature, but it's also rewarding. By embracing imperfection, we give ourselves permission to explore, evolve, and thrive. Life isn't about avoiding failure, it's about using those failures to grow into the best version of ourselves. Creativity is often thought of as the pursuit of beauty, originality, and perfection. Yet, the truth is that creativity thrives on imperfection. The best works of art, literature, and innovation are born not from flawless execution but from experimentation, risk, and the willingness to embrace flaws. Think about an artist painting a canvas. The brushstrokes may not be perfect, and the colors may blend in unexpected ways, but it's often these mistakes that create something magical. In music, an offbeat rhythm or a raw, emotional voice can make a song unforgettable. In writing, some of the most celebrated novels have flawed characters or unconventional structures, making them feel real and relatable. Creativity isn't about perfection, it's about expressing truth, and truth is rarely perfect. One of the biggest obstacles to creativity is the fear of failure. How often do we stop ourselves from starting a project because we're worried it won't be good enough? This fear stems from the idea that anything less than perfect isn't worth doing. But when we let go of perfectionism, we allow ourselves to create freely. Rough drafts, messy sketches, and trial and error are all part of the process. Imperfection gives us the freedom to explore new ideas without judgment. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history were accidental. The discovery of penicillin, for example, happened because Alexander Fleming noticed mold growing on a petri dish he had failed to clean. These moments of unintended genius highlight the importance of embracing the unexpected. Flaws and mistakes are often the birthplace of innovation. So, the next time you're tempted to critique your own work, remember that creativity isn't about getting it right on the first try. It's about the process, the journey, and the imperfections along the way. True creativity comes from letting go of the need for perfection and allowing yourself to create authentically. Letting go of perfection is one of the most liberating decisions you can make. Society often convinces us that we need to meet impossible standards, whether it's in our appearance, career, or relationships. This relentless pursuit of perfection not only sets us up for failure but also prevents us from fully enjoying life. When you let go of perfection, you create space for authenticity, joy, and peace of mind. Consider how much time and energy is spent on trying to appear flawless. Whether it's obsessing over the perfect outfit, crafting the perfect response, or presenting a polished version of yourself to the world, the effort can be exhausting. Striving for perfection can lead to burnout, anxiety, and self-doubt. But when you release the need to be perfect, you allow yourself to be human. You stop trying to fit into a mold and start embracing the freedom of just being yourself. This mindset shift isn't about giving up on your goals or settling for less, it's about prioritizing what truly matters. Psychologists often refer to the good enough mindset, which focuses on progress over perfection. It's about recognizing that doing your best, even if it's imperfect, is more than enough. Perfection is an illusion, but good enough is attainable, realistic, and sustainable. Letting go also deepens your connections with others. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable and show up as you are, you inspire others to do the same. Vulnerability fosters trust and intimacy in relationships. It allows people to see your humanity and feel safe sharing their own imperfections. Ultimately, letting go of perfection is about reclaiming your life. It's about prioritizing happiness, connection, and authenticity over societal expectations. By embracing imperfection, you set yourself free. You give yourself permission to live unapologetically, without the constant pressure to measure up. That's where true freedom begins. Loving yourself as you are, with all your imperfections, is one of the most powerful acts of self-care. Yet, self-love can feel elusive when we're conditioned to focus on our flaws. Many of us magnify our imperfections, criticize ourselves harshly, and feel unworthy of love. But the truth is, self-love isn't about being flawless, it's about accepting and celebrating yourself for who you are, including your imperfections. Self-love begins with self-awareness. Take a moment to reflect on how you talk to yourself. Are your inner thoughts compassionate or critical? If you wouldn't say something to a loved one, why say it to yourself? Learning to silence that inner critic is an essential step toward embracing your flaws. Instead, replace self-criticism with kindness. Acknowledge your strengths and recognize your growth, even in moments of imperfection. Flaws are not failures, they're part of being human. They add depth to your character and make you relatable. When you embrace your imperfections, you build confidence. You no longer feel the need to hide or apologize for who you are. This confidence radiates outward, attracting opportunities, relationships, and experiences that align with your authentic self. Practicing self-love doesn't mean ignoring areas for growth. It means approaching personal development with compassion rather than judgment. For example, instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," reframe your mindset to, "I'm learning and improving every day." Progress, not perfection, is the goal. Affirmations are a powerful tool to cultivate self-love. Try repeating phrases like, "I am worthy as I am," or, "My imperfections make me unique and valuable." Over time, these affirmations shift your inner narrative, helping you see yourself through a lens of love. Remember, self-love is a journey, not a destination. It requires patience, practice, and a willingness to embrace the messy, imperfect parts of yourself. When you fully accept who you are, you unlock a life of greater confidence, joy, and peace. Conclusion: imperfection is not something to fix, it's something to celebrate. It connects us to each other, teaches us invaluable lessons, and makes life beautifully unpredictable. When we embrace our flaws, we unlock a deeper sense of self-worth and create a ripple effect that inspires others to do the same. Consider how much more meaningful life becomes when you let go of perfection. You stop striving for unattainable standards and start living in the present. Imperfections become less about limitations and more about opportunities to connect, grow, and be truly seen. Think of your flaws as your superpower. They make you unique, authentic, and relatable. When you accept them, you stop hiding and start shining. You step into your power, embracing the beautifully imperfect human that you are. So, the next time you catch yourself striving for perfection, take a step back. Remind yourself that perfection is an illusion, and imperfection is your greatest strength. It's what makes you human. It's what makes you extraordinary.